Today we're going to talk about the Esbit Pocket Stove. I'm going to just kind of go over how it works and say some pros and cons that I've noticed with these, in particular this one. As you can see, it's pretty small. The stove itself weighs 3.1 ounces without any fuel stored inside. In my case, I have 4 fuel tabs and 2 Light-Me Tinders stored inside. Now, with those things inside of it, it weighs 5.11 ounces. So still not very heavy. And now let me show you what I mean by fuel inside. The Esbit is a solid fuel stove, and that's what these 4 things are. You take them out of the wrapper, you put them in the center of the stove, you light them, and that's what's going to cook your food. Now these things do put off a smell. It's a fishy smell or a shrimpy smell. Some people really hate it. I notice it, but it doesn't bother me. And other people say that they don't smell it at all. Thing to note, though, is if you don't smell it, but you're out with other people, somebody in your group is going to smell it. Or someone in the area might smell that too, because it definitely does put off a smell, and when you light it, it does smell worse. Now, I said that I have these 2 Light-Me Tinders in here, and the reason I have that is that these fuel tabs sometimes are a real pain to light. I recommend scraping off some flakes with a knife or something and getting those lit. But if you don't have a lighter, and you can hold it directly to this, these really take a while to light sometimes. That issue gets eradicated with this. All I do is I rip one of these in half, I fan it out a bit, get this to light. These will light with a spark or a match or anything. And then I just place it next to the fuel tab on the stove, and eventually it ignites the fuel tab. I'm good to go. And I haven't had any issues doing it that way. As you can see, it sits right in the center. Now, one thing that this does do that's negative is it does put off a stain. So, as you can see, this is on here. And it's not just being burnt, that's the chemical too. I'll throw up a picture of this mug earlier. I used this one for the first time on the Esbit earlier today to get a boil time. That boil time, by the way, was 8 ounces of water, and it took 5 minutes and 46 seconds. So I'll throw that picture up, and you can see there's still some scorching on this. Again, this was brand new before I used it once on the Esbit. So if you have some high quality gear that you don't want to get stained, I wouldn't recommend using it with the Esbit. But it did, most of the stuff did come off, as you can see, just with a good scrub. It's not a clean burning stove. That's something to factor in. It will leave stains on your stuff that you can still get off. And again, it's a slow burn. 8 ounces of water, 5 minutes and 46 seconds. Definitely not the fastest stove out there, but for portability and everything, I don't think that's too bad. Another negative to this is that when the fuel tab's done, if it cooks your water or meal or whatever it is fast enough, you still have this fuel tab here. And really, the only thing you can do is let it burn off. Odds are there's not going to be enough of it left to even try to salvage. And I mean, I wouldn't recommend salvaging these in the first place. So it's one of those things where you're just going to have to let the fuel burn off. Which, for some people, I know that they find that wasteful. They want to save every single bit that they can. The Esbit's just not really designed for that. Now, there are knockoff models, which I have one over here. And I have not used this. This one I got at Walmart. And as you can see, it's the same concept that the Esbit is. Kind of multi-directional. Opens up. Now, their fuel tabs are not individually wrapped, as you can see. It's just one large one. I can guarantee you that these have the same smell. So once you open this, I would recommend putting them in a Ziploc bag or something if you're going to buy this one and store it. This one, it's a little bit cheaper made. It doesn't shut as easy. It feels a lot more flimsy. It is larger, if that's something that you're looking for. And if you want smaller, then I would recommend just getting an Esbit online if you don't have a store anywhere where you can buy it. But this little stove's not a bad option if you want to try it out and just see if it's something for you, or even if you just want to have a stove like the Esbit thrown into your gear. It's going to work generally the same way. The fuel tabs might not be as effective, but with the amount that they give you in this, you're probably going to be golden. So to wrap it up, I would definitely recommend the Esbit for something like a bug out bag or an emergency kit in a car or anything like that, I wouldn't use it as my primary stove. In my opinion, there are better options out there that are quicker, more efficient. The fuel's easier to get. This fuel's not hard to come by in certain areas, and you can definitely order it online, no problem. But it's not as easy as, say, getting yellow heat for an alcohol stove or something like that. Again, it burns dirty, it has a smell, but it's super light, and the fact that the fuel and everything can be stored inside of this is a really cool thing. It doesn't take up any more space than this, the stove itself, to store fuel or anything like that. So all you need is your mug or whatever. So again, definitely something I'd recommend for a bug out bag, an emergency kit, maybe a day hiking kit if you want to have something in case you have to boil water, or let's say you want to have a hot meal on the trail. You can take this out with some Mountain House, boil some water, and you'll be good to go. But that's it. There's the Esbit for you. There it is. There's the Esbit for you, and I will put a link down in the descriptions where you can go pick this up along with some refills, and I'll put all of the stats that I talked about, the boil time, the weight, all that stuff down below. Thank you very much.